Good morning. My name is Heidi Anderson Swan. I'm an independent contractor with Every Brain Matters, a nonprofit organization. But today I'm speaking as an individual, as an American who is very concerned about the misinformation out there about THC. THC is the psychoactive ingredient in marijuana. The silence about the harms is one of the reasons that I wanted to attend the Bryn Spejcher trial. Have you heard that THC increases the risk for anxiety, depression, suicidal ideation, psychosis, schizophrenia? If you haven't heard this, why haven't you heard this? Bryn Spejcher was convicted of involuntary manslaughter in the killing of her friend, Chad O'Melia. It was determined by both the defense and the prosecution that she was in acute cannabis-induced psychosis. The evidence that I saw in the courtroom was horrific and agonizing. It was testified that this was one of the grisliest crime scenes ever seen in Ventura County. Chad O'Melia died from stab wounds to the chest and the abdomen. He suffered over 100 cut wounds. Bryn Spejcher was in such deep hallucinations that she stabbed her own service dog, and she was plunging the knife into her own throat when the peace officers broke in, and they were wearing body-worn cameras. The camera footage showed that they had to beat her with a baton, they had to tase her to get the knife out of her hands. And it also showed that she was completely unaware of their presence, and she was responding only to the voices in her own head. The prosecutor said that Bryn Spejcher would have died by suicide without the intervention of the officers. One of my tasks at Every Brain Matters is to help Bryn Spejcher fulfill her probation hours. And Bryn Spejcher will tell you that if she knew that THC could cause hallucinations, cause a person to act on their hallucinations, cause them to become violent, she would never have tried it. So this tragedy was 100% preventable. And this is something that is very personal to me, because I have been trying to reach people like Bryn Spejcher, like Chad O'Melia, since 2017, just months before this tragedy occurred. You see, I wrote the first historical fictional story illustrating that marijuana, THC, can cause mental health problems. It's called A Night in Jail. Using A Night in Jail as a platform, I have been going around to public officials, to public health organizations, mental health organizations, trying to get them to educate that THC can do this. And I can tell you firsthand that overall, most of the time, the harms about THC are being withheld, intentionally withheld from the public. The most egregious example that I can think of is the California legislature. I volunteered for 2 bills with them to put common sense protections on THC products. The first was to put mental health warnings on products, similar to like what we have on tobacco products. And then the other was to put some protections around THC candies so that toddlers wouldn't mistake these highly psychoactive products as something that they would get from a snack bag. Both bills failed. They failed due to pressure from the industry. So we have no protections in California at all. And in fact, the expert at the Bryn Spejcher trial testified that California rolled out legalization without any regard for public health. So you can see that this is pretty much a catch-22 situation. There are no warnings about the mental health side effects, but defendants, like Bryn Spejcher, are told by the courts that they should have known. They should have known that THC could cause her to become psychotic and violent. So if we are going to prosecute people for the crimes that they commit, the violence that happens while they're in cannabis-induced psychosis, then we darn well better be sure that we have a decent public health education about it. We educate people about the harms of alcohol, the harms of tobacco. Can you imagine having Lung Cancer Awareness Month and not mentioning the dangers of cigarette use? Well, that is exactly what's happening today with THC marijuana. The month of May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And in the worst addiction and mental health crisis in our country, who is telling you that the drug most linked to mental illness is THC? To help right this wrong, I suggest that we set aside one day in the month of May, Mental Health Awareness Month, and make it THC Mental Illness Side Effects Day to help educate the public. Because if our leadership continues to stay silent about the mental health harms of THC, then who do the young people hear from? All they hear is from the cannabis industry, which is providing a lot of misinformation, not dissimilar to big tobacco of 50 years ago. To protect our country from more violence, from more death, like what happened in the Bryn Spejcher trial, we must educate the public about the mental health harms of THC.
Great job.
Thank you, Roger.
Bryn, come on up. This young lady is superb. Her experience is not isolated. What's different is God has given Bryn the ability to speak about it and not go to prison like so many others had. But come on up, Bryn. You tell them your story.
Thank you, Roger. Good morning, everyone. My name is Bryn Spejcher, and I want to express my gratitude for the opportunity to speak to you today. This marks my first press conference following my criminal trial. Before I delve into the details, I want to make it clear that I come before you as a nonpartisan individual. My sole purpose today is to shed light on a matter of public health, sharing my personal journey, and highlighting the devastating consequences of high-potency marijuana. Growing up in a suburban Illinois, I experienced a childhood filled with love and stability in a Christian household, alongside my parents, brothers, and a lot of pets. I engaged in various activities such as dance, Girl Scouts, art, sports, music, church, and much more. Adding a challenge, I was diagnosed with bilateral severe sensorineural hearing loss by the age of 3 and have utilized binaural hearing aids since the age of 4. Being the only child with hearing loss in our public school system led me to work hard just to listen and hear, to catch up in sound recognition, speech, and language development for the 4 years I lost. Following my academic pursuits, culminating in a doctorate of audiology from Washington University in St. Louis School of Medicine, I embarked on a career path aimed at helping others with hearing impairments. In 2017, I began working as a senior audiologist in Thousand Oaks, California, with UCLA Health, eager to make a difference in the lives of patients. The unspeakable tragedy struck on Sunday of Memorial Day weekend in 2018 in California, resulting in the death of my friend Chad O'Melia due to a severe cannabis-induced psychosis that I experienced after consuming unknowingly a potent dose of marijuana. This event plunged me into a period of profound grief, depression, fear, and introspection as I waited trial. The subsequent legal proceedings led to my conviction of involuntary manslaughter, accompanied by 3 years probation, restitution, a mandate of 52 domestic violence classes, and to contribute 100 hours of community service to raise awareness and educate about the dangers of marijuana. I also want to express that I wouldn't be here sharing my story today without the Ventura County, California police. Their intervention literally saved my life. My aim is to dedicate thousands of hours, possibly for the remainder of my life, driven by the profound understanding of how a seemingly ordinary evening with a friend resulted in a tragic loss and life-threatening, enduring wounds. This harrowing experience, stemming from unregulated, falsely perceived, harmless cannabis, has underscored the urgent need for government regulation, awareness, and education. The years since that life-altering night has been one of immense pain and regret. Expert professionals from the prosecution and defense at my trial confirmed and agreed that the incident stemmed from a severe cannabis-induced psychosis, a condition exacerbated by the high potency of THC in the substance that was given to me without my knowledge. I want to emphasize that I had no prior history of mental health issues or violent behavior. Like many others, I was unaware of the potential risks associated with high-potency THC. I am no one special, and this can happen to anyone. The normalization of potent strains of marijuana has perpetuated the misconception that cannabis is inherently harmless. However, this story serves as a stark reminder of the dangers lurking within. The technique of milking or layering a bong, which I unknowingly was pressured into, can significantly amplify the effects of THC, leading to catastrophic psychological reactions in naive, susceptible individuals. I wish this on no one. My hope is that sharing this story, I can prevent others from experiencing similar tragedies. Every day, for the past 6 years, my heart aches for Chad, his family and loved ones, as well as my own. Both families have been irreversibly impacted by this horrifying incident. Not a day goes by that I do not grapple with the pain and sorrow caused by that unimaginable night. If I had known more about the potential dangers and deadly effects of high-potency marijuana, this tragedy would not have occurred. I am deeply concerned about the cases of other people who have lost their lives and have been severely impacted and having no idea that cannabis could have played a role. It's a sobering reminder of the urgent need for awareness and education surrounding the risks associated with high-potency THC. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my story.